Hello and welcome to the second ever episode of the Culture Club podcast. My name is Oscar Dalton. I'm a currency collector, amateur vexillographer, and lover of cultures from all around the world. Today's episode will be on Denmark. Without further ado, let's get into the culture. Hey, it's Editor Oscar here, and I didn't realize that I was sitting on a really squeaky chair while I was recording this, so you might hear some of that in the background. Sorry for the bad quality. Alright, so, the Kingdom of Denmark is a country in Northern Europe. It's considered a Scandinavian country alongside Norway, Sweden, and Iceland. Denmark consists of one main peninsula, Jutland, and 443 additional named islands. Denmark only borders one country, and the country that Denmark borders is Germany to the south. Denmark is mostly flat and has very arable land, which means that it's very good for farming. Denmark has 16,580 square miles within its borders. This is 228 times smaller than the US. This is about twice the size of Massachusetts. The Kingdom of Denmark also owns the Faroe Islands, which is right between Iceland and the Scottish Shetland Islands. The official language of Denmark is Danish, and in Danish, Denmark is called Danmark. However, the Danish government recognizes Faroese, Greenlandic, and German as official languages in the Faroe Islands, Greenland, and Jutland respectively. Around 86% of Danish citizens identify as ethnically homogeneous, having Danish ancestors or being born to one Danish parent. In Jutland, Greenland, and the Faroe Islands, there is a majority of the population being indigenous to the region. The capital city of Denmark is Copenhagen. Copenhagen is the only Danish city that has a population over 1 million. However, there are 3 other Danish cities with a population of over 100,000. These 3 cities are Aarhus, Odense, and Aalborg. In the whole Kingdom of Denmark, there is about 5.9 million people, with 52,000 people living in the Faroe Islands and 56,000 people living in Greenland. Denmark's GDP, or gross domestic product, is $299 billion US, which puts them 52nd in the world. Denmark has the 10th highest standard of living in the world, with a 0.94 on the HDI scale. They use Central European Time, or UTC+1, and drive on the right side of the road. Those are all the basic facts you need to know about Denmark. So let's move on to the government part of the podcast. For those who don't know, that was just the sound of members of parliament in the UK saying, "Hear, hear, hear, hear," because they're not allowed to clap. That has nothing to do with Denmark. I just found it really funny. And I just thought it would be a pretty appropriate Easter egg opener, whatever you want to call it, for this section of the podcast. So, into the government. Denmark is a unitary parliamentary constitutional monarchy. In plain old English, that just means that they have a monarch that only has some powers, acting kind of as a pseudo-figurehead, if you will. And all the real running of the country is done by parliament or a prime minister. There are 2 coalitions in the Danish parliament as of December 17th, 2020. The government, who's in power, is made up of a bunch of democratic socialist parties and 2 Greenlandic parties. The opposition coalition, literally named just the opposition, is made up of center-right and right-wing parties, 1 Faroese party, 2 independents, and oddly 2 Green parties. After looking into it further, literally just looking at all the parties' Wikipedia pages, I found that the ruling party is seen as very radical by center-right and right-wing parties, and way too moderate by the Faroese party and the 2 Green parties. But in the actual structure of the Danish government, the Danish parliament is unicameral, which means that they have 1 house in their parliament, compared to the American system with the Senate and the House of Representatives, and the British system with the House of Commons and the House of Lords. These systems are known as bicameral. The Queen of Denmark is Queen Margaret II, and the current Danish Prime Minister is Mette Frederiksen. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry to any Danish speakers, because as most of the countries here, I am not a fluent speaker of their language, so I'm probably messing up almost every Danish word here. Every 4 years, there is a Danish general election where they pick who's going to be in the parliament and which party is going to be in power, with the last one being in 2019. They used the Dahant voting method, which I went on a huge rant about last episode. But if you didn't see that one, the Dahant method is where voters rank a bunch of candidates on the ballot, but the Danes put their own spin on it, where they rank a bunch of political parties who pick candidates off a list. The Prime Minister is the leader of the parties with the most votes. There are 5 administrative divisions in Denmark, not including Greenland and the Faroe Islands. The 5 regions of Denmark are Nordjylland, Midtjylland, Syddanmark, Sjælland, and Hovedstaden. During those general elections that happen every 4 years, the people living in those regions vote directly on who's going to be on their council, and the council leads the region. But they don't have as much power as, say, an American state does. That's about it for the government and subdivisions of Denmark. So let's get down to some cold, hard cash. Denmark and Greenland use the Danish krone, but the Faroe Islands uses their own currency, known as the Faroese krone. According to the Maastricht Treaty of 1992, though, Denmark can switch itself and the Faroe Islands over to the euro whenever it pleases. They could also peg the two currencies to the euro. The ISO code of the Danish krone is DKK, and the number is 208. The subunit of the Danish krone is a øre, and it is 1/100th of the krone, so 100 øre makes 1 krone. I am not a Danish native speaker, so there's a really good chance I am completely butchering these Danish words. If you want to learn how to pronounce these correctly, do your own research and don't base everything off this one podcast, because I can assure you my pronunciations are not that good. Anyways, the most frequently used coins in Denmark are the 50 øre coin, the 1, 2, 5, 10, and 20 krone coins. The most frequently used banknotes in Denmark are the 50, 100, 200, 500, and 1,000 krone banknotes. The central bank of Denmark is the Danmarks National Bank. There is one mint in Denmark, and it is the Royal Mint of Denmark in Copenhagen. $1 is equal to about 6.07 Danish krone, and €1 is equal to about 6.44 Danish krone. That's about it for the currency part of the podcast, so let's get into some flags. That was the Danish national anthem, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. But, to start off this flag segment, I will strongly encourage everyone listening to Google these flags as I'm talking about them, because it will really help you get a better understanding of them. The flag of Denmark is a white Scandinavian cross on a red background. This flag is also known as the Dannebrog, just so you know. No one really knows what the colors in the Danish flag mean, but it's known as one of the oldest flags on Earth. The Danish official website says that the flag was adopted in the year 1219. Legend has it that the Danish flag fell from heaven during a battle in present-day Estonia. Since there's really no official description of the Danish flag that I can give you, I'll just go through each of the 5 regions' flags. The region of Nordjylland has no official flag, but the unofficial flag of Nordjylland is a Danish flag with a shield, usually with some bird on it, where the 2 white lines cross. The flag of Midtjylland is a green Scandinavian cross on a red background. The green resembles the natural beauty of Midtjylland, and the red background represents Denmark. The Syddanmark flag is honestly one of the ugliest flags I've ever seen. It says Region Syddanmark in gray at the bottom, and there's a bunch of green squiggles above it on the right. This is all on a plain white backdrop. The flag of Sjælland is a bunch of white dots in the shape of an S in the middle on a navy blue background. The flag of Hovedstaden, or the capital territory, is also pretty atrocious. There's a huge gradient dark blue kind of outlined H on the right side. I don't really know how to describe it. And on the right 2/3 of the flag, it says Region Hovedstaden. All of this is on a navy blue background. Those are the flags of Denmark and the 5 regions. So let's talk about some food and music. The national dish of Denmark is fried pork with parsley sauce and potatoes. Another popular Danish food is smørrebrød, or an open-faced sandwich. and I again have to apologize for my horrible pronunciation. But a Danish open-faced sandwich is typically on rye bread, topped with any combination of cheeses, meats, and garnishes. Another Danish dish is frikadeller. Frikadeller is a savory pork meatball, often served with cabbage, potatoes, and brown sauce. There are no Danish musicians that are really known around the world. Looking into it, I found that the top hits in Denmark are the top hits from the US a couple months before, but maybe with a bit of Danish flair. For instance, Despacito, Unforgettable, and Shape of You are still in the Danish top 100. There's not really a lot to talk about Danish food and music. So let's get on to the sports. The most popular sport in Denmark is football, or soccer for my freedom-loving patriots. The most well-known Danish footballer of all time is probably Peter Schmeichel, the goalkeeper who played for Man United. Denmark is 12th in the FIFA World Rankings, and even got to the World Cup in 2018. They lost on penalties in the round of 16 to eventual runners-up Croatia. In my opinion, the best Danish footballers are Kasper Schmeichel, Andreas Christensen, Simon Kjær, Christian Eriksen, and Kasper Dolberg. Some other sports on the rise in Denmark are fishing and gymnastics. I just saw this around on the internet, and I really know nothing about these topics, and I'm not going to pretend I know anything about them. So let's just get into the history. The earliest written record of a Danish people was around 500 AD, when they were recorded pillaging English villages. In 960, the Danes were Christianized from the south. From the 10th century to 1397, they were independent and even controlled a large part of southern Sweden. From 1397 to 1523, Denmark was part of a kind of united Scandinavia in the Kalmar Union. In 1527, Denmark united with Norway to form the creatively named Denmark-Norway. That lasted until about 1814. In 1814, the Union fell apart, but Denmark was able to keep the crucial territories of the Faroe Islands, Iceland, and Greenland. During the First World War, Denmark maintained its neutrality, but World War II was when it really hit the fan. Germany really wanted Schleswig-Holstein back, and infamously got it in only 6 hours. The Allies eventually took Denmark back nearing the end of the war, but Denmark was forced to give Germany Schleswig-Holstein and gave Iceland independence. That is how Denmark got to its present-day borders. Congratulations, you've actually made it to the end of the podcast. If you liked this episode, please stick around for more. You can give us a follow and a good review on wherever you're listening. You can get in contact with me on Twitter at CultureClubPod1, on my Facebook page as Oscar Dalton, and on YouTube as the Culture Club Podcast. See you next week!